Cats. We love them. Cats on the internet. This has always been a guaranteed recipe for success. But what if we feed those cats and set up cameras at feeding stations, live streaming the entire process on the internet? Then, my dear friends, history is made. A history like this one. The universe of cats from Chinese electronic feeders generated countless memes being spread across the internet. However, this is just one side of the story, because beyond the funny cats and many cute faces, there are a group of people who are actively fighting these cat influencers, trying to make their lives miserable, often resulting in tragic endings. Enjoy the video. Topics like these are pretty hard to present while keeping the overall reach and safety of this channel intact. But these topics are still no less important. So if you would like to help me create more of these videos that aren't really that correct, feel free to subscribe this channel, feel free to give this video a like, and feel free to comment under this video. Also, if you would like, please support me on Patreon. Thank you a lot, and let's get back to the video. The whole initiative was started by the company
Guangxi Hachong 网络科技有限公司。
The Hello Street Cat project
哈洛街猫
began on April 13th, 2023 with the primary mission of improving the coexistence of humans and stray cats through the power of technology. Another goal of the project was to monitor homeless cats under the catch, nurture, return method to reduce the population of stray cats and encourage more people to adopt them. To achieve this, the company created dedicated apps like Jimao and Purr. With these apps, users can feed the cats with small donations for the initiative. The company also has an official account on Douyin, Chinese TikTok, where it posts regular updates on the program and other announcements. The company has partnered with over 500 animal clinics to secure discounts for nurturing and other veterinary services. The latest surge of hype around feeding wandering or stray cats and broadcasting it live on the internet started in so-called Happy Canteen, in one of these special electronic cat feeders. Cats can be viewed on several websites and apps, and there are a lot of cat feeders. They're spread across the whole country of China. According to last year's estimates, there are over 21,000 of them there. These feeders are connected to streaming apps, and with small donation amounts, you can directly contribute to more food or wet chicken being dispensed. Each feeder has multiple cameras, and you can switch views to see every angle of the cats enjoying their meal. Cat feeders are truly advanced wonders of modern engineering. They consist of 5 main parts: a dispenser with an attached food bowl, a food container, cameras, and a general casing. There is also a built-in water dispenser. Over the years, however, with increasing popularity, these devices have undergone dynamic evolution, gaining several upgrades. The first version of the device was made entirely of wood. Though it had cameras, their feed was not publicly available. It was a kind of a prototype made at home. It is now located at the entrance of the Hello Street Cat headquarters, serving as a reminder of the mission to feed as many stray cats as possible. Then came the beta version feeders. They were white on the outside and blue on the inside. In addition to the standard models, there were also prototypes primarily designed for shelters to increase adoption rates. These models were much smaller than conventional ones and had only one camera, which could be placed freely. Each device has its dedicated caretaker who cleans it, performs basic maintenance, replenishes food and water, and decorates it appropriately. Each feeder has its unique group of cats, although some placed close to each other share many of the same cats, having regular same visitors. These regulars quickly became very popular on the internet, starring in numerous memes or videos on X and Instagram. Thus, even an entire Wikipedia was created solely for the purpose of documenting this feline chronicle and keeping track of cats like Mr. Piss. Mr. Piss is an adorable ginger cat best known for urinating on the feeder, which earned him his name. After the incident, he got involved in some verbal dispute with other unidentified cats off camera because Mr. Piss is also very rude. Mr. Piss, along with other cats, formed an unofficial coalition, union of sorts, called the Piss Alliance, composed of cats that had peed in the feeder. The members include Mr. Fresh, a former member, Mr. Chicken, Mr. Void, Mr. Piss himself, Mr. Oreo, the Pisser, Mr. Butter, possibly, and the Mr. Slab. Mr. Puke, also known as Cream Orange, is a cat that as soon as he first appeared at the feeder, he basically vomited. On February 3rd, 2024, he vomited again, this time on the carpet, and only then in the feeder. On the 30th of May, 2024, he repeated his performance, vomiting his food back into the bowl. But not all the attention was due to bodily functions. Mr. Sus became an internet meme after giving what might be the most spectacular side-eye in history. However, Mr. Sus was not the only cat who became an internet sensation due to his quirky gaze. Mr. Fresh preceded him, and you probably have already seen him. His blazed look regularly circulates on TikTok and X. His nickname comes from his selective approach to food. He prefers to eat food that just came out of the feeder. Not all cats are as chill and comfortable, however. Mr. Fear, for example, gained recognition for being absolutely terrified by the delivery of new food. The cat known as the Glutinous Beast, or Mr. Speed, is famous for his incredibly long feeding sessions, devouring food at an astonishing speed, 2 to 3 bites per second, which equals to 150 bites per minute. He is the fastest and longest eating cat ever recorded at the feeders. His longest session lasted over 25 minutes. According to Street Cat Wiki, he has already made over 18,750 bites. This is little Glutinous Beast being looked after by the well-known Mr. Piss. But it's not just cats that use the feeders. Mr. Frat, for example, is a rat whose coloring is somewhat similar to Mr. Fresh. Hence, he got the nickname Mr. Frat. You get it? Mr. Fresh, but it's Mr. Rat? Never mind. Sometimes Mr. Sonic, also known as Mr. Hedgehog, visits the feeders. He eats the cat's food and the cats react with this really murderous intent look. But mostly Mr. Sonic is just chilling. Then there is Mr. Cat, a black furred feline who has demonstrated his cat-like moves several times to audiences worldwide. He typically comes to the feeder to eat and sleep, and he doesn't look for trouble. He's definitely a cat, trust me, because how could you even doubt that? Frequent guests, especially at the Cats Who Love to Eat feeder, are snails. Usually these are large African or Chinese snails. On Chinese soil, they are considered intruders and a threat to the local ecosystem. But the snails don't seem to care that much. They steal small amounts of food, organizing group raids, and cats often hiss at them. For instance, this one snail fell to the ground in an unusually pathetic and pitiful manner. This swarm is a sophisticated team of ants, visible sometimes at almost every feeder. The ants surpassed the Glutinous Beast for the longest feeding session, beating it by about 12 hours. At one point, however, an unprecedented snail incident occurred. Near where the ants were busy being ants, an unassuming snail was resting. After a short time, the snail tried to circumvent the ants but was attacked by their swarm. The action lasted about 5 minutes, but the snail eventually managed to escape. Afterward, the snail stared into the horizon for about 10 minutes, contemplating its next move. It decided to return to the feeder, where it was once again attacked by the ants. During the second attack, the snail hid under the feeder and was never seen again. The Sploinglings are 3 kittens that were frequently seen in the Lucky Cat ASMR feeder before they were adopted. Their name comes from their appearance. Just look at them. They were named Sploink, Boink, and Splat. The kittens initially seemed neglected and homeless, abandoned by their mother, and they made the feeder their home. However, the feeder's caretaker looked after them and regularly checked on them. Eventually, the kittens were adopted by a local resident, and their fate is is now mostly unknown, but they finally found a warm home. Telling funny stories or random moments like these is pretty nice, but sometimes we need to step down a little to the harsh reality. This brings us to the dark side of this whole phenomenon. Of course, the streams have gathered a really nice community of people willing to do good. Engaged individuals continuously support financially this whole initiative, and they also spread memes, spread positivity, and also they write extensive Wikipedias about this whole universe. However, these streams also gathered other individuals, cat abusers who sometimes organize successful actions to harm these animals. Sometimes they were stopped by good people, but this whole situation is nonetheless messed up. At one point, through shady Telegram channels where cat abusers organized their actions, a mission to kill Mr. Fresh was spread. A financial reward was offered for a successful operation, and for an additional fee, the dead cat's body would be placed in the feeder for all the viewers to see. Fortunately, this plan was foiled from the start because Mr. Fresh had been adopted by good people and was well taken care of. A similar offer was later made for a cat named Mr. Shock, with the conditions and motivation for the hit being the same. Like Mr. Fresh, Mr. Shock was also in the process of being domesticated and adopted. However, not all cats were so lucky, because people looking for entertainment in making innocent creatures' lives miserable often targeted other cats, even those not really that known from memes. Cat abusers would torment these cats by, for example, ruining their food, spraying this food in water, or even spraying the cats in water. More harsh examples show that they even added rat poison to the innocent cat's food. And unfortunately, in one such case, it ended tragically for one of the cats. In one case, a cat named Little Rice Ball was directly taken away from its mother during a live stream broadcast, and this kitten was later found dead. Some sources suggest it died from hypothermia, while others claimed it has drowned. In the entire matter, the organization Feline Guardians fights for justice, regularly reporting on their activities aimed at holding the perpetrators accountable. The organization has repeatedly suggested that while cat influencers are certainly the loudest victims, they are not the only ones targeted by cat abusers. These sadists regularly catch other cats, film their abusive actions, and sell such videos for money on the clear web or even on the dark web. The Instagram account Feline Guardians frequently provides documents, evidence, and the identities of the perpetrators and many petitions. You can support them in many ways, which are all listed on their website, which I'll link in the description. I won't go into too much details, but there are a lot more victims than I just mentioned. And the number of perpetrators is large too. They organize themselves in shady Telegram groups, and they constantly recruit new members. Generally in China, such actions exist in somewhat of a gray area, from a legal standpoint at least, because there is simply not enough regulations and not harsh enough punishment that would effectively discourage such perpetrators, such cat abusers, from acting this way. And although many sadists have been identified, the vast majority of them remains unpunished, or they have received laughable penalties, like for example for disrupting the public order, as in the case of Wang Xiaoyi. Wang Xiaoyi was an employee of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, and for years he abused animals. He is the author of many well-known videos to those who have been on the internet for a while. If you've ever seen a terrible video featuring a cat, it's very likely that it came from him. For his actions, he received almost 15 days of imprisonment. This sentence was only there because during one of his abusive acts, he broke someone's car window while attempting to do harm to another animal. Currently, he is free, still able to catch homeless and defenseless cats, record his actions, distribute them, and profit from the suffering of living beings. After his release, active protests took place. In contrast, the punishment for many other perpetrators of such actions often ends with, for example, their expulsion from their school. A full list of many other abusers, along with the evidence in their individual cases, can be found on the official Feline Guardian's website in the Abuser List section. Though it should be noted that this list is very incomplete, as there are many more such individuals and it's really difficult to pinpoint them precisely, as they hide their identities very effectively. Due to the lack of appropriate regulations in China, this issue is rarely discussed publicly, and the Chinese media remain mostly silent on the matter. This ignorance in turn leads to a more or less social acceptance of such practices. Even the good mission of the Hello Street Cat project can seem to have a darker side. After all, there are countless stray cats, and the resources to catch and nurture them all are not sufficient. And while Hello Street Cat has been successful in controlling the cat population in some cases, it won't always be able to do so. Easily accessible food provides cats with a powerful incentive to expand their population. If they are not caught in time, they will reproduce, which will lead to an even greater problem and an increased overcrowding of cats. While creating this video, another thing occurred to me. What if this project inspires more inexperienced people worldwide to set up similar feeders with cameras on their own? I myself even thought about it, and I have realized that doing it without proper support, without proper knowledge, could be really harmful. In practice, it would be just feeding those cats, but without any adoption program or population control. So please don't try it on your own, as it could only harm the local ecosystem. House cats in the wild in at least European geographical region are responsible for the extinction of at least 63 species, and American scientists estimate that house cats yearly cause the death of up to 4 billion birds and 22 billion small mammals. But let's return to the main point of this video. But where the law doesn't work, people do work. Even though morally vigilante justice is kind of a dark zone and generally it's not the most optimal solution, more and more Chinese internet users and other animal activists are concluding that it's better than just sitting and doing nothing. As Vice reported, a group of animal rights activists managed to identify one of the members of the Sadistic Animal Abusers chat group, who boasted about the number of his victims. He also suggested that he is planning to adopt another 4 cats and invited others to watch the live stream to show everyone what he will do to these cats. On February 25th, 2023, a group of animal rights defenders confronted the man at the shopping center where he was supposed to adopt another cat. The footage from this incident shows him being beaten by the group. Under pressure, he confessed to abusing 5 cats, explaining the details of his cruelty. Chinese police launched an investigation into Li and the people who attacked him. However, as mentioned earlier, Chinese law stands on the side of animal abusers. Many animal rights activists have highlighted how difficult it is to even initiate a case against such individuals, let alone obtain a suitable verdict. However, cat abusers don't only have law on their side, they also have organization and a power of a certain social pressure. A Chinese actress learned this firsthand when she publicly condemned animal abuse, calling for stronger laws and regulations on the matter. This came amid a controversy in which it was revealed that a Chinese influencer was also a sadist abusing cats. So the actress posted a public message criticizing the influencer and many others like him, and for that she was retaliated against. The cat abusers found her private phone numbers and other important addresses and published them online, effectively doxing her. This sparked a significant uproar, once again showing how powerless the authorities and laws are when it comes to sadistic behavior towards animals. If you still feel helpless and sad because of the animal abusers, I think the justice that befell on a certain boy on 4chan will comfort you. video. Kenny Glenn was a young boy who, like many his age, liked to be edgy. He posted videos on YouTube showing how he hurt cats. On February 15th, 2009, two videos appeared on YouTube in which a child, using the name Timmy, brutally mistreated a cat named Dusty. The videos were recorded by two people. The matter quickly gained attention from 4chan users who, despite their edgy nature, considered harming cats to be just a little bit too much. The perpetrators were swiftly identified by 4chan users. After the culprit was found, 4chan went into overdrive. Users posted threats, gathered personal information, and even contacted the perpetrator's family, demanding severe punishment. Soon even the local authorities were forced to intervene, which led to an investigation into the abuse of those cats. The situation also made headlines in the media. Years later, however, despite public outrage, the punishment for Kenny Glenn seemed merely symbolic. The perpetrator resurfaced years later in 2016 on Reddit, where he admitted to his actions, explaining them as a foolish attempt to gain attention. He also stated that he had faced significant financial consequences, paying hefty fines and performing community service hours. As you can see, this topic is extremely complicated and difficult. What do you think about it? Once again, I invite you to visit the Feline Guardian's website to try to take action yourself. Stay safe on the internet. Thank you for watching.